It seemed like an ordinary evening, just like any other after a long day at work. There was that familiar feeling of exhaustion settling in. But sometimes destruction doesn't come from betrayal alone. Sometimes it's the things left unsaid, the glances, the hesitant words, the emotions simmering under the surface that spark the fire. A single name spoken too carefully can stir things that have long been buried beneath the surface of familiar love. Tension fills the air as if the past has crept back in, uninvited and without warning. There are no heroes in this story, only people tangled in memories, resentments, and comparisons. When the past returns and trust becomes something fragile, only one question remains. How much can a heart take before it stops believing? Hello, my friend. I'm glad you stopped by. If this is your first time, don't forget to subscribe and share this video with your friends and family. It really helps my channel. Also, let me know where you're watching from. I love reading your comments. Now, let's dive into the story. It all started on a Thursday evening. It was just another night until my wife, Catherine, said something that shook me to my core. "Mason, there's something I need to tell you," she said, her voice quiet, trembling with uncertainty. It was late, far too late for a serious conversation, but the look in her eyes told me this wasn't just any chat. Something was coming, and I could feel the weight of it. I tried to mask the unease that had already begun to grow in me. "What's going on?" I asked, a hint of concern creeping into my voice. "You're making me nervous." She paused for a moment, taking a deep breath, then spoke again. Her words rushed. "It's about Julian," she said. A cold wave hit me as soon as I heard his name. Julian, her ex-husband. His name had haunted me for years, and I never thought I'd hear it in this context. I had met him once, many years ago. He was wealthy, successful, everything I wasn't. When they were married, he spoiled her with gifts, but there was always something unsettling about him. Something about the way he still had influence over her that never sat right with me. "What about Julian?" I asked, forcing my voice to stay calm. Catherine hesitated before her words tumbled out in a rush. "I saw him today, and then he called me afterward. He wants to see me again." My chest tightened, a storm of emotions rising inside me, but I fought to keep it together. "Why would he want to see you?" I asked, my voice sharper than I intended. She looked at me with wide eyes, surprised by my tone, but she didn't look away. "I don't want anything from him, Mason," she said, her voice sincere. "I swear, but he's been reaching out a lot lately, and I just—" She trailed off, unsure of how to explain. "Why didn't you tell me sooner?" I interrupted, frustration seeping into my voice. "You know how I feel about him." "I know," she whispered, her voice cracking. "I didn't want to upset you. I thought it would just go away." "Did it go away?" I asked softly, a trace of vulnerability slipping through my words. "No," she admitted, shaking her head. "It didn't." I leaned back, trying to make sense of everything she had just said. My world felt like it had shifted, tilted out of balance. My mind raced, but I forced myself to appear calm. "So what now?" I asked, my voice barely audible. "I don't know," she replied, her eyes filled with uncertainty. "I'm not going back to him, but I can't shake the feeling that he won't leave me alone." I swallowed hard, trying to steady myself. "So what do you want me to do?" Catherine bit her lip, staring at her hands. "I don't know, but I need you to trust me. I don't want anything to do with Julian. Please, you have to believe me." I wanted to believe her. I really did. But something inside me was nagging, a feeling that this wasn't just a simple conversation, that there was more to it, something I wasn't ready to confront. The days that followed only deepened my suspicions. Little things, small signs, added weight to the knowing feeling in my gut. Then came the argument that, in hindsight, marked the turning point. After a long, exhausting day at work, I came home hoping for a quiet evening and a meal to relax with. Instead, I found Catherine sitting at the kitchen table, absorbed in her phone, takeout containers scattered across the counter. I couldn't hold it in any longer. "You know," I said, my voice tired, "I'd really appreciate if you cooked dinner once in a while." Catherine didn't even look up. "Oh, honey, I'm sorry. I've just been busy," she replied. "Busy?" I repeated, my frustration starting to show. Busy doing what? Scrolling through Instagram? Watching reality TV? You've been home all day. My voice grew sharp as I felt the tension rise. Finally, she looked up, setting her phone aside. She didn't say anything, but I could see the tiredness in her eyes. It was as if she didn't know how to answer. Or perhaps she didn't want to. I had been researching new interior design ideas for the living room, she said with a heavy dose of sarcasm, as if it were the most important task in the world. Clearly it was more pressing then. I don't know. Making sure your husband had a decent meal after a long day at work. The air in the room grew heavier despite no physical change in temperature. Catherine sat up straighter in her chair, suddenly defensive. You know, Mason, I work too. I work hard to keep this house running. I make sure you always have clean clothes and a comfortable home to come back to. I couldn't hold back a scoff. Running smoothly by ordering takeout every other night and leaving the dishes in the sink? Her eyes narrowed, her voice rising. Don't be ridiculous. I do more than just sit around all day. I take care of you. I make sure you look good. I keep you happy. Do you keep me happy? I asked, my voice dripping with disbelief, a bitter laugh slipping out before I could stop it. Is this really what I have to face now? She never missed an opportunity to remind me of the money I brought home, as if I should be grateful for the little she thought I was worthy of from her. Her expression tightened. You know, if you made what Julian does, I wouldn't have to worry about fixing dinner, she said coolly. I leaned back in my chair, folded my arms across my chest, fixing my gaze on her. Oh, really? I asked, the sarcasm dripping from my words. Is that what this is about now? Julian again. Catherine's face faltered for a brief moment, her shift almost imperceptible before she regained her composure. I didn't mean it like that, she said quickly. Of course not. I shot back, my voice laced with disdain. It's just a slip, like it always is. When we fight, Julian always manages to sneak in somehow, as if he's still here, like he never left. Stop twisting my words, Mason, she snapped, her voice defensive. You know that's not what I meant. I sat up straighter, my voice gaining heat as my frustration grew. But that's exactly what it sounds like, isn't it? Every time we argue, you bring him up like he's the measure by which I fail as a husband. Catherine stood abruptly, her arms crossed. I never said you were failing. You don't need to. I fired back, the boiling frustration spilling over. It's in every comment about what Julian used to do. Buy you expensive gifts, earning 6 figures. And now this. Telling me I'm not making enough to get a home-cooked meal. Do you even hear yourself? She opened her mouth, but no words came out. For a brief moment, I saw something soften in her eyes, perhaps a hint of understanding about how hurtful her words had been. But it was gone as quickly as it came, replaced by her usual defensive stance. You're overreacting, she said dismissively. I was frustrated, that's all. You came home in a bad mood, and we ended up fighting about dinner. Overreacting. I almost laughed, though I was anything but amused. I work all day, every day, so you can have everything you want. And when I come home, I expect a decent meal, not overpriced takeout. How is that unreasonable? The silence that followed was suffocating, thick with all the words we'd left unsaid. The tension in the room grew with each passing second, leaving us both speechless. We said nothing more that evening. I didn't want to be angry, didn't want this constant distance between us, but it felt like we were trapped in an endless cycle. The rift in our marriage, once small and easy to ignore, was now impossible to overlook. Catherine retreated to the bedroom, slamming the door behind her. I sat there, staring at the empty counter. It wasn't just about dinner. It was about everything. The things we'd never said, the things we'd swept under the rug. A bitter aftertaste lingered in my mouth as I sat alone in the kitchen. What were we even fighting for anymore? The next morning, I woke to an empty bed. Catherine was gone. Normally, I'd find her downstairs, humming softly as she made coffee. But today the house felt eerily still. I went downstairs and found a hastily written note on the kitchen table. I'm sorry. I'll be back late. Late? What did that even mean? Was she going to her sister's? A cold knot of unease tightened in my stomach. The hours dragged on, every minute stretching longer than the last. My mind kept returning to the argument. the sharp words, the accusations that stung like open wounds. When I finally got home, the house was dark. Catherine still wasn't there. I called her, but went straight to voicemail. Panic began to creep in. Where was she? Was she okay? Maybe she'd gone to her parents. But when I called them, they hadn't heard from her either. The hours crawled by, each one more unbearable than the last. I paced the living room, my mind spiraling with worst-case scenarios. Finally, around midnight, my phone rang. It was Catherine. A wave of relief washed over me, only to be replaced by frustration when I heard the tremor in her voice. "Mason," she whispered, her words barely audible, "I'm so sorry. I needed to get out, clear my head." I confronted her the moment she returned. "Where the hell were you?" My voice rose with frustration, every word heavy with the anger that had been building up inside me all day. I was worried sick. "I just needed some time alone," she muttered, barely meeting my eyes. "You didn't mean to?" I scoffed. "You left without saying anything, Catherine." The line fell silent for a moment before she spoke again, her tone defensive. "I'll be home soon." But I didn't answer. The silence stretched on until I finally hung up, my mind clouded with frustration and confusion. 30 minutes later, I heard the front door creak open. I turned, watching her walk in, not daring to meet my gaze. "I'm going to stay with my sister for a few days," she said, her voice cold and distant. "I just need space." I stood there, frozen, unable to speak. She moved quickly, packing her things with mechanical precision, as though this was just another ordinary day. "When will you be back?" I managed to ask, my voice barely audible. "I don't know," she replied, zipping up her suitcase. "I need some time alone." Without another word, she grabbed her bag, walked toward the door, and left. The next few days were unbearable. The silence between us was suffocating. No calls, no texts, just a vast emptiness hanging in the air. I tried to drown out the unease by focusing on work, but it didn't help. The feeling that something was wrong gnawed at me constantly. On the third day, as I sat at my desk, my coworker Adam approached quietly, looking around as if making sure no one could overhear. He leaned in and spoke in a hushed voice. "Mason, I need to tell you something." His face was serious, and my heart started to race. "I saw Catherine the other night," he said, making my stomach twist in dread. "Where?" I asked, barely able to get the words out. "She was at a bar downtown with some guy." Adam explained. "They seemed pretty close, talking, laughing, and then they left together. They hugged before leaving." I was barely holding together. "Who was he?" I managed to ask, my voice shaking. Adam described a man, and it didn't take long for me to figure it out. Julian, her ex-husband, the one she claimed she had no interest in anymore. But clearly that wasn't the truth. The realization hit me like a blow to the chest. I couldn't just let this go. I needed answers. So I hired a private investigator. The next day, I got a call with the findings. Catherine had gone out to dinner with Julian. The connection between them was clear, more than just a friendship. After the meal, they went to his house, shared a kiss on the sidewalk, and went inside together. The investigator sent me photos, clear, undeniable proof. My world collapsed as I stared at the images. Catherine was cheating on me with Julian. My mind couldn't comprehend it. The betrayal stung in a way I hadn't expected. I didn't waste time. By noon, I had divorce papers ready. I went straight to a lawyer, knowing I had to move quickly. That afternoon, I went to her sister's house, the photos clutched tightly in my hand. Her sister's confused expression didn't stop me. "Where is she?" I demanded. "What's going on, Mason?" she asked. Then Catherine walked into the room, her face unreadable. "What's wrong?" she asked. Without saying a word, I slammed the photos down on the table. "This," I said coldly, pointing at them. "This is what's going on." She froze, her face draining of color as she saw the photos. "Mason, she started, but I cut her off. "So this is what you needed space for?" "Running back to your ex-husband." My voice was sharp. "This is how you handle things?" "I didn't mean for this to happen," she whispered, her voice trembling. I was just confused. Confused? I repeated, incredulity in my voice. By going back to him? This is your solution. She tried to explain, her voice soft. I never wanted to hurt you. I'm sorry. I shook my head, exhaustion overtaking the anger. Sorry doesn't fix this, Catherine. You've been cheating on me with him. A heavy sigh escaped me as the anger melted away, replaced by a hollow weariness. I can't keep doing this, I said. I'm done. I've already filed for divorce. This is over. Her eyes filled with panic. Please don't leave me, Mason. I'm sorry. But I didn't say anything. Without another word, I turned and walked out. The divorce went through quickly. Catherine moved in with her sister, hoping to reconnect with Julian now that she was free. But it didn't go as she expected. Julian wasn't interested in getting back together. He only wanted something casual. Realizing she had lost everything, Catherine came back to me, tears in her eyes. I made a mistake, she said, her voice pleading. Please, Mason, can we start over? But I had already moved on. I've made peace with everything, Catherine. I told her, my voice firm. But I can't go back. I deserve better. With that, she left, taking the last remnants of our broken marriage with her. And I closed the door on that chapter of my life, ready to face whatever the future held.